Well, you won't believe it, but the autism community is divided yet again. A few weeks ago, the IACC, or the Interagency Autism Coordinating Committee, which is led by RFK Jr., met and they recommended the label of profound autism be embraced, but with some stipulations. Now, the IACC is currently made up of both federal government and public, which could be any kind of autism advocate, leading researcher, things like that, members. And right now, the chairman is Sylvia Fogel, who both has a son with profound autism and happens to be a psychiatrist. So she's been working to categorize this profound autism as well as put in some measures in place for children who are likely to elope or wander or have co-occurring medical risks. However, there were two main reasons that this decision had a lot of pushback. The first is people felt that it was done illegally or without policy. RFK Jr. reportedly fired most of the committee's members and then hired 21 new members that were handpicked by him that allegedly have similar agendas as far as anti-vax and pro-facilitated communication. Also, the IACC is supposed to meet every year, and apparently it's been over a year and a half since they last met. And the proposals were only made public 3 days prior to the vote, which you're supposed to have drafts and weeks to review and amend these proposals. Some of the committee members even refused to vote, saying that it wasn't done in accordance with the law and they weren't given a chance to review these documents properly and form an informed opinion. The other big piece is the way that they define the profound label. So even though in 2022 in the Lancet, which is a well-known medical journal, that it requires intellectual disability, IQ of 50 or below, and lifelong round-the-clock care. The new definition by the IACC is children that are 8 or older that have minimal or no functional speech. So this means non-speaking or single-word phrases, and no spontaneous, non-prompted communication. And these children were stated to require continuous or near continuous supervision to ensure the safety and also requiring substantial assistance with activities of daily living. And so many have spoken out about this, including Jill Escher, who's the president of the National Council of Severe Autism, because of the concern of this legal definition not requiring an intellectual disability. And it appears to favor those who are proponents of facilitated communication for which there is no research to back it. So in response, the IACC said that requiring an intellectual disability diagnosis as part of the definition of profound autism risks excluding individuals who meet the criteria based on functional and communication needs but do not have an intellectual disability diagnosis. And they felt this could misclassify individuals due to known limitations in cognitive and adaptive assessment, reinforcing systematic underestimation of cognitive capacity. And then on the other hand, you have members of the Autistic Self-Advocacy Network who have historically expressed opposition to the profound autism label at all because they feel that it makes assumptions about certain people being too impaired to live in the community or too impaired to be educated. And if you're wondering my take on all this, I think that the intellectual impairment does need to be included in some respect. It doesn't necessarily have to fall all on IQ, but it certainly should at least take into consideration some of the cognitive profile as well as the adaptive functioning. And the language really doesn't need to be so stressed because it's not so much about the language as about the ability to function safely and independently. But I think we also need to refer to the research, which is what some of these autism advocates are saying, is that there's no research to back their definition in terms of the way that they're phrasing it cognitively and the way that they're phrasing it in terms of the non-prompted communication and facilitated communication. If we don't have some more stringent criteria for what profound autism is, you're going to get a lot of people who maybe do not require as much intensive support that might be eligible for this category. And then you have the same problem that you have on the other side of the spectrum where people are not getting the services that they deserve, that they should qualify for because of these loose boundaries and poor objective definitions of these labels. So what are your thoughts? Do you think this was fair what the IACC did? Do you think there's a hidden agenda? Do you think we need to start from scratch? Let me know.